Hello everybody and welcome back again to Mass Effect. We are back on the Normandy after finishing another main mission, and I think we actually have completed our team now. So I think this is like the perfect opportunity to actually go and talk to them all. Because I haven't really done so. I've spoken a little bit to Kaidan and Ashley after the first mission on Eden Prime, but all the new members I haven't really spoken to them yet. So I will use this episode to do so. I have already been doing a bit of off-camera work, equipping my people and stuff like that, which is why I'm currently in this part of the ship. Well, I was in the lower decks, but I want to speak with Liara first because she's our newest member, and apparently she is in the lab and storage area for some reason. And after that, we will catch up with all the other companions as well. So I guess she is actually in the back room here. Okay. Yep, there she is. Okay, let's talk.
Commander, are you coming to check up on me?
Right, she wasn't feeling so good after our last adventure, so are you okay?
You look much better. How are you feeling?
Dr. Chakwas assures me I am going to be fine. I was impressed with her knowledge of Asari physiology.
Yeah, I think she's the best.
You're in good hands. Dr. Chakwas knows what she's doing.
I never properly thanked you for saving me from the Geth, Commander. If you hadn't shown up...
It's okay, don't mention it.
I'm just glad we got there in time.
So am I. I know you took a chance bringing me aboard this ship. I have seen the way your crew looks at me. They do not trust me. But I am not like Benezia. I will do whatever I can to help you stop Saren. I promise.
We'll see. Well, I don't know. She seems honest enough to me.
Don't worry, Liara. I trust you. I know you won't let me down.
It means a lot to hear you say that, Commander. Thank you.
I'd like to talk about you, Benezia Asari culture. Well, let's start by talking about her.
Tell me about yourself, Liara.
Me? I am afraid I am not very interesting, Commander. I spend most of my time on remote digs, unearthing mundane items buried in long-forgotten Prothean ruins.
And do you like it?
You must enjoy something about it.
I love my work. Seeking out history's lost secrets has a special appeal for me. You were actually touched by working Prothean technology. That is why I find you so fascinating, Commander.
Don't try to study me. So you think I'm fascinating?
Sounds like you want to dissect me in a lab somewhere.
What? No, I did not mean to insinuate. I never meant to offend you, Shepard. I only meant that you would be an interesting specimen for an in-depth study. No, that's even worse.
It's okay. Relax.
Calm down, Liara. I was only joking.
Joking? Oh, by the goddess, how could I be so dense? You must think I am a complete and utter fool. Now you know why I prefer to spend my time in the field with data disks and computers. I always seem to say something embarrassing around other people. Please, just pretend this conversation never happened.
Okay. Yeah, maybe you want to talk about your mother, because I think she may be working with the enemy.
Do you know why Benezia joined up with Saren?
I don't understand it. She was always outspoken about the need for the Asari to become more involved in shaping galactic events. Maybe she thought allying herself with Saren would somehow be for the greater good in the long run. At least I hope so.
You sound troubled. Yeah, I bet she is, because it's her mother.
This hurts you, doesn't it?
None of this makes any sense to me. I have not spoken to Benezia in many years, but I know her, and this was not like her. Something changed.
Well, maybe we can talk a bit about Asari culture then.
I'd like to know more about the Asari.
We were the first species to discover the Citadel. We were instrumental in forming the Council, and we always strive to be the voice of peaceful cooperation in galactic disputes. My people believe we are all part of a single galactic community. Each species contributes something to the greater whole. Although we seek to understand other species, it seems few of them seek to understand us. The galaxy is filled with rumors and misinformation about my people.
Such as?
Like what?
Most of the inaccuracies are centered around our mating rituals. My species is monogendered. Male and female have no real meaning for us. We still require a partner to reproduce. This second parent, however, may be of any species and any gender.
How is that possible?
I don't understand. Your species can mate with anyone?
Mating is not quite the proper term, not as you understand it. Physical contact may or may not be involved, but it is not an essential element of the union. The true connection is mental. Our physiology allows us to meld with other beings. We can touch the very depths of their minds. We explore the genetic memory of their species. We share the most basic elements of their individual and racial identities. We then pass these traits on to our daughters. It is how we learn to grow as a species and how we develop a greater understanding of other races.
And what about the other parent?
What happens to your partner after the union?
Every relationship is different. Some unions are a single encounter with both parents parting ways afterwards. Others can be more long-term. Sometimes an Asari and her partner will stay together for many decades.
Who was your father? I'm not sure if they are even called fathers.
Do you know who Matriarch Benezia chose as her partner?
She rarely spoke of her partner. Though I know my father, if you want to use that term, was another Asari.
You can do that? Well, I would suppose that they can. I mean, assuming that they're the only sentient species on their planet, they must have had a way to reproduce before they developed space travel, right? So at some point they must have mated with other Asari exclusively. So you don't know who?
Benezia never told you her partner's name?
Union with our own kind is no longer common, not for the purposes of reproduction. Most Asari believe it weakens our species. Asari daughters inherit racial traits from the father species. If both parents are Asari, then nothing has been gained, or so conventional wisdom would hold. I am what is sometimes called a pureblood, though no Asari would ever be cruel enough to say the word to my face. It is a great insult among my people. It is possible Benezia's partner was embarrassed by their union. She may have been too ashamed to publicly acknowledge me as her offspring.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah, but then why would she do that?
Why agree to the union if she didn't want any children?
I cannot answer that. This is all speculation on my part. It is possible she wanted to be part of my life, but something happened to her before she had the chance. Benezia never spoke of her partner. Whatever happened, it caused her too much pain to dwell on it. She raised me by herself, though that is not uncommon. Many Asari raise their children alone, particularly if the father species is short-lived. Often the partner will pass on long before the child reaches maturity.
Yeah, that's right. If they get like 1,000 years old, then this is bound to happen, I suppose. How do they deal with that?
You Asari live for 1,000 years. What happens when your partner dies?
Few sapient species live as long as my kind. We have learned to take a philosophical approach to our unions. We do not focus on the inevitable loss of our partners. Instead, we enjoy the time we spend with them. And even after they're gone, a part of them lives on in us. The union is a connection that transcends both time and space.
Okay, I guess I have asked all of it. In that case, goodbye.
I should go.
Goodbye, Shepard.
That was some interesting information. And yeah, I'm sure she's fine and that she doesn't work with Benezia. I mean, BioWare wouldn't do that, right? Give us a companion who's not who they claim they are and who actually may be, the bad guys or the opposite side. They wouldn't do that, right? Anyway, now that we've spoken to her, well, actually, I don't know if Dr. Chakwas has something new to say, but let's find out.
Yes, Commander? Is there something you need?
I'm pretty sure I asked that already, so...
I should go.
Goodbye, Commander.
Nothing new here. But I think, right, Caden is somewhere around here as well. Yep, he's over here, so let's talk to him next.
Commander, do you have a minute?
Well, I'm listening.
I always make time for my officers.
Off the record, I think there's something wrong here. This Saren is looking for records on some kind of galactic extinction, but we can't get backup from the Council? Sorry, Commander. There's writing on the wall here, but someone isn't reading it.
Well, to be honest, we haven't really that much proof for what Saren is planning, except, my visions. But I guess I understand what you want to say.
The Council doesn't want to believe anything's wrong. I'd call it human nature, but...
I hear you. It just seems like a group that's been around as long as the Council should see this coming. I mean, it's funny, we finally get out here, and the final frontier was already settled. And the residents don't even seem impressed by the view. Or the dangers.
Zip it, Lieutenant. It's kind of an interesting way to look at it anyway.
Well, well. You're a romantic. Did you sign on for the dream, Malenko? Secure a man's future in space?
Yeah, I read a lot of those books when I was a kid, where the hero goes to space to prove himself worthy of a woman he loves, or, for justice. Or maybe I was a romantic in the beginning, but I thought about it after brain camp. Biotic acclimation and temperance training. I'm not looking for the dream. I just want to do some good. See what's out here. Sorry if I got too informal. Protocol wasn't a big focus back in Bot.
Oh, that's alright.
Tell me about it.
Biotic acclimation and temperance didn't last past the airlock. To the kids they hauled in, it was brain camp. Sorry, hauled in is unkind. We were encouraged to commit to an evaluation of our abilities so an understanding of biotics could be compiled. There are worse results of accidental exposure to Element Zero in the womb. Beats the brain tumors some kids grew up with.
Right, I think I read about this in one of the Codex entries. There was some sort of accident where a lot of people were exposed to this Element Zero, and the children born after that, some of them were biotics, and that's how humans discovered biotics. But apparently a lot of them also got cancer, so it's not really such a good thing. But you doubt it was accidental?
Is there some question about how you were exposed?
My mother was downwind of a transport crash. It was before there were human biotics, a little after the discovery of the Martian ruins. It only gets iffy around 63 when Kinetics was running out of first-gen subjects. Until then, they'd relied on accidentals. A bunch of guys in suits show up at your door after school, and next thing you know, you're out on Jump Zero.
Well, that's interesting. And you think that may have been intentional?
You know of any intentional exposures for certain?
No one knows. Doesn't mean they didn't happen. As big as the exposures were, it was hard to track down accidentals. It was different then. No one knew the potential, so there wasn't a lot of regulation. Anything Kinetics did was gold. I'm not saying they intentionally detonated drives over our outposts, but in retrospect, they were damn quick on the scene.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, tell me about Jump Zero.
Jump Zero is Gagarin Station, right? What's it like?
Yeah, that's the official name. Biggest and farthest facility we had for decades. Right on the termination shock, the outer edge of the solar system. It's where they did all the Goose Chase FTL research before we caught on to using mass effect fields. It was a sterile research platform when I was there.
But I'm sure you had friends.
There were other kids in the same boat, right? At least you weren't alone out there.
That's true. We did have a little circle that'd get together every night before lights out. We didn't have much to do, though. It was a research platform then, and Kinetics kept Jump Zero off the extranet to prevent leaks.
Time to get physical. And yeah, time to talk as well, I suppose.
Then you must have had plenty of time to get to know each other.
Yeah, we'd sit around and bull every night after dinner, play cards or network games. There was this girl named Rana, who had a little circle grow up around her. She was from Turkey. Her family was very rich. But she was smart and charming as hell. Beautiful, but not stuck up about it. Like you, I guess.
Okay. Sure, let's be really nosy here.
Sounds like she was special to you.
She was. Maybe she felt the same. Things never felt together. Training, you know.
Okay, I asked all of that, so go on.
Jump Zero's a long way from home. What was it like?
The grand gateway to humanity looks a lot better in the vids. Anyway, this was supposed to be a casual debrief, not a bull session about stuff that happened years ago.
Well, I'm interested in my crew.
I wanted to get to know you a little better. That's all. Thanks for the talk, Kaidan.
Well, you're welcome, ma'am. You, make a habit of getting this personal with everyone?
Well, I do plan to talk to all of them, you know. What do you think?
No, I don't. We'll talk again later.
I'll need some time to process that, Commander. But, yeah, I'd like that.
Alright, yes, you go and process that, and I will check on my other companions. I think they're all down on the lower decks, so let me take the elevator. There we go. And I get a loading screen in the loading screen. Okay, yeah, let's start with Garrus, maybe.
Commander, nice work out there. I knew working with the Spectre would be better than life at CSEC.
You knew.
Have you worked with the Spectre before?
Well, no, but I know what they're like. Spectres make their own rules. You're free to handle things your way. At CSEC, you're buried by rules. The damn bureaucrats are always on your back.
Well, I suppose I know what you mean.
Being a Spectre does have its advantages.
Exactly my point. If I'm trying to take down a suspect, it shouldn't matter how I do it, as long as I do it.
But CSEC wants it done their way. Protocol and procedure come first. That's why I left.
That was your reason?
So you just quit because you didn't like the way they do things?
There's more to it than that. It didn't start out bad, but as I rose in ranks, I got saddled with more and more red tape. CSEC's handling of Saren was typical. I just couldn't take it anymore. I hate leaving.
Yeah, I guess it must have been a tough decision.
I hope you made the right choice. I'd hate for you to regret it later.
Well, that's sort of why I teamed up with you. It's a chance for me to get off the Citadel, see how things are done outside CSEC. Either way, I plan to make the most of this.
And without CSEC headquarters looking over my shoulder, well, maybe I can get the job done my way for a change.
Whatever. Well, it depends, because, you know, I'm still in command of the ship, so in the end, we'll do things my way.
If getting the job done means endangering innocent people, then no. We get the job done right, not fast. Got it?
I wasn't trying to... I understand, Commander.
Well, that was pretty fast. Do you have anything else to say, maybe?
Commander, how are you?
Yeah, tell me more about CSEC.
Why did you want to be a CSEC officer in the first place?
That's a good question. There were several reasons, I guess.
Such as?
Like what?
Probably the same as most officers. I wanted to fight injustice, wanted to help people. I guess my father had something to do with it, too. He was CSEC, one of the best. I grew up hearing about his accomplishments or seeing his picture on the vids after a big arrest. He's taking my resignation pretty hard.
Well, I can understand that.
That's tough. But you'd think he'd be impressed you're going after Saren.
My father's a CSEC man to the bone. Do things right or don't do them at all, he says. He thinks I'm being too rash, too impatient. He's worried I'll become just like Saren. He actually talked me out of becoming a Spectre when I was younger, for the same reasons.
So you wanted to become one?
You were asked to be a Spectre.
Well, I was targeted as a possible Spectre candidate, me and about 1,000 other Turian military recruits. I could have received special training, but my father didn't like it.
He despises the Spectres. He hates the idea of someone having unlimited power with no accountability. He wouldn't like you, Commander. No offense.
I see.
I suppose I can understand his concern.
You can. But Saren's not going to play by our rules, CSEC's rules. If you want to nail Saren, you need to send someone who isn't restricted by policies and procedures.
I'm not sure how I feel about that. I mean, obviously, taking on Saren will probably require certain measures that may not always fall within the usual policies and procedures. But like I said, there are certain red lines that you shouldn't cross. And like I said, she has principles. So we're not going to do anything and whatever it takes. There has to be a certain balance.
Just because you can break the rules doesn't mean you should. I don't need to stoop to Saren's level to stop him. And neither do you, Garrus.
I see what you mean, but I'll think about it. Thanks, Commander.
Alright.
Commander, good to see you.
Okay, apparently he has nothing else to say. So, oh, another codex. Let's talk to Ashley.
Commander?
How are we doing?
What's your opinion of the last mission?
Not sure I buy Dr. Tassoni's story about her and her mom not talking. They're family, right?
Well, that doesn't really mean that they are on good terms or close to each other. So yeah, it might not matter that they're family.
Not everyone has a happy family life.
I know. But I'm not gonna bet she's on our side just because Benezia didn't hug her enough. I'll keep an eye on her. Too bad those ruins got destroyed. I mean, they lasted thousands of years. That's impressive.
Yep, they lasted for 1,000 of years and then Commander Shepard came along. Alright, can we talk?
Do you have a few minutes to talk? One-on-one?
Sure. I was hoping to get a minute of your time. Off the record.
Of course.
I keep an open door policy. If you have any concerns, lay 'em on me.
All right. I know things are different aboard the Normandy, but I'm concerned about the aliens, Vicarian and Rex. With all due respect, Commander, should they have full access to the ship?
What do you mean?
Don't mince words, Chief. What's your concern?
This is the most advanced ship in the Alliance Navy. I don't think we should give them free rein to poke around the vital systems. Engines, sensors, weapons.
Well, honestly, I doubt they have. I mean, this is a military vessel, and you would think that there are certain security protocols concerning people that aren't actually members of the crew or not members of the Alliance military. But this isn't that way because they're aliens, but because they're not, not members of the crew. So, yeah, I don't think they can just, walk up to a computer and pull out, I don't know, secret weapons plans or something. So is this because they're aliens or because they're not, accredited for being part of this crew?
You don't trust the Alliance's allies?
I'm not sure I'd call the Council races allies. We, humanity, have to learn to rely on ourselves.
But you also need to see that we're pretty new here. I mean, humanity has been doing this space travel stuff for a few decades, and the other races have been around for a few thousand years. I think it would be pretty foolish to assume that we can just do it all on our own and that we shouldn't rely on the help of others who have been around here for several centuries already.
How do you get from relying on ourselves to mistreating our allies?
I don't mean we should mistreat them, Commander. I just think we should be prepared to go it without them. As noble as the Council members seem now, if their backs are against the wall, they'll abandon us.
I honestly don't know. I don't really know enough of the politics of this place yet, so that I would call this a certainty.
I don't see that as inevitable.
Look, if you're fighting a bear and the only way for you to survive is to sick your dog on it and run, you'll do it. As much as you love your dog, it isn't human. It's not racism, not really. Members of their species will always be more important to them than humans are.
Yeah, this is a strange analogy, though. I mean, you send the dog after the bear because it's a dog. And, I mean, are you basically insinuating that to the other council races we're basically just dogs or something? Because I mean, it's a bit of a different thing, you know. So why do you feel that?
These seem like deeply held beliefs, Williams. What made you think this way?
My family's defended the Alliance since it was founded. My father, grandfather, great-grandmother, they all picked up a rifle and swore the oath of service. I guess we just tend to think of Earth's interests as our own.
Okay. Yeah, sure, tell me about your family.
I come from a military family, too. My parents were both Navy. Anybody in your family we might know?
Couldn't say, Commander. We probably have a lot in common. You join up to carry on the tradition?
And to see space, of course.
No. The future of humanity is out here. There's so much we haven't seen yet.
Yeah. I still remember my first field exercise on Titan. When we hit mud, the reality hit me. I'm the first person who ever stood here. Then my drill instructor kicked me in the ass. I went face first into the muck. He spent the next 5 minutes chewing me out for gold bricking.
Gold bricking?
Don't tell me you had Gunny Ellison. He's the only one who uses that word to describe shirking duty.
Oh, Lord. You went to the Makapog boot camp, too? Yeah. Gunny Ellison's still reaming out recruits down there. Kicking ass and using words like inveigle and pusillanimous.
What are these words anyway? Okay, tell me about your service.
It doesn't sound like you've worked with aliens before.
No, ma'am. Mainly I've been groundside, part of the surface garrison forces. I did get a rotation on a space station for training. Every Marine a rifleman, every rifleman ZG certified.
So you did just one rotation?
That's odd. Your record is spotless and your technical scores are exemplary. You should be serving with the fleet.
Anyway, that's why I haven't served with many aliens, Commander.
Okay. But, I mean, we still have to work with them because this issue concerns all of us.
Alright, I can see where your concerns are coming from, Williams. But this is a multilateral mission. You're gonna have to work with aliens, like it or not.
It won't be a problem, Commander. You say jump, I say how high. You tell me to kiss a Turian, I'll ask which cheek.
Well, thank you.
I don't think kissing Turians will be necessary.
You never know, Commander.
Okay, goodbye then.
Dismissed, Chief.
Ma'am.
Alright, so that's Ashley, and I suppose we can continue with Rex over here.
Shepard, what can I do for you?
I have a personal inquiry.
What's your story, Rex?
There's no story. Go ask the Quarian if you want stories.
Come on, don't be an ass.
You Krogans live for centuries. Don't tell me you haven't had a few interesting adventures.
Well, there was this one time the Turians almost wiped out our entire race. That was fun.
Yeah, that's kinda unfortunate.
I heard about that. You know, they almost did the same to us.
It's not the same.
I suppose it isn't, but I can't really say that. So it isn't?
It seems pretty much the same to me.
So your people were infected with a genetic mutation? An infection that makes only a few in 1,000 children survive birth? And I suppose it's destroying your entire species?
No, I didn't really want to say that anyway, but the options didn't really give me any other choice. Yeah, I see your point.
I suppose it isn't all the same.
I don't expect you to understand, but don't compare humanity's fate with the Krogan.
Fair enough.
Sorry, Rex. I wasn't trying to get you upset.
Your ignorance doesn't upset me, Shepard. As for the Krogan, I gave up on them long ago. The genophage infected us, but it's not what's killing us.
Okay, tell me about the genophage.
What can you tell me about the genophage?
Ask the Solarians if you want details. They made it. All I know, it makes breeding nearly impossible. Thousands die in stillbirth, and most never get that far. Every Krogan is infected. Every one. And no one's rushing to find a cure.
Why?
Why don't the Krogan try to find a cure?
When was the last time you saw a Krogan scientist? You ask a Krogan, would he rather find a cure for the genophage or fight for credits? He'll choose fighting every time. It's just who we are, Shepard. I can't change that. Nobody can.
That's very sad. So you're on the verge of extinction?
Are your people really dying?
We're sure not getting any stronger. We're too spread out. None of us are interested in staying in our own system.
So?
Lots of species have left their homes and prospered.
But they go to colonize new worlds. We're not settlers. We're warriors. We want to fight. So we leave. Hire ourselves out. And most of us never go back.
I see. Okay.
So long, Rex.
Shepard.
And wow, I leveled up just from talking to my companions. That is very nice. Yes, right. I still have Tali, and she apparently is in the engineering, so let's talk to her now. Oh, core charge status. Let me examine this as well. And now let's talk to her.
Your ship's amazing, Shepard. I've never seen a drive core like this before. I can't believe you were able to fit it into a ship this small. I'm starting to understand why you humans have been so successful. I had no idea Alliance vessels were so advanced.
Well, I think this ship is actually kind of special.
The Normandy's a prototype, cutting-edge technology.
A month ago, I was patching a makeshift fuel line into a converted tug ship in the flotilla. Now, I'm sitting on board one of the most advanced vessels in Citadel space. I have to thank you again for bringing me along. Traveling on a vessel like this is a dream come true for me.
So you're into ships, apparently.
I had no idea you found ship technology so interesting.
It comes with being a Quarian. The migrant fleet is the key to the survival of my people. Ships are our most valuable resource. But we don't have anything like this. We make do with cast-offs and second-hand equipment. We just try to keep them running for as long as we can. Some of the fleet's larger vessels date all the way back to our original flight from the Geth.
That's 300 years ago.
I can't believe your fleet's still using ships that are 3 centuries old.
They're constantly being repaired, modified, and refitted. They aren't pretty, but they work. Mostly. We've tried to make ourselves as independent as possible on the flotilla, grow our own food, mine, and process our own fuel. But some things we just can't make on our own. A patch to maintain the hull integrity requires raw materials we just don't have. That's why our pilgrimages are so important.
Yeah, tell me more about the pilgrimage.
I want to know more about the pilgrimage.
When my people reach maturity, we leave our birth ships and seek acceptance with a new crew. It's necessary to maintain genetic diversity among the fleet. But no ship wants to accept someone who will be a burden on them. So, to prove our worth, we embark on a pilgrimage. We set out alone, leaving the flotilla and our families behind us. We only return once we have found something of value we can bring back to the fleet. This is presented as a gift to the captain of the respective ship we wish to join. If the gift is accepted, we are welcomed into the crew.
And do they always accept?
Can a captain choose to reject the gift?
That doesn't happen often. Most captains are eager to increase the size of their crew. It increases their own standing in our society. Even when a gift is not particularly valuable, the captain usually accepts it out of a sense of tradition. However, there is a stigma to presenting a substandard gift. It's not the best way to make a good impression on a new community. Most pilgrims don't return until they find something worthwhile.
Okay, sounds kinda dangerous though.
I can't believe they just send you off alone.
It's not like they just cast us out. Before we leave, we are given lessons in how to survive outside the flotilla, and given gifts to help us on our journey. We also receive implants to fight off sickness and disease. Generations of living in an isolated and highly controlled environment have left our immune systems weaker than most.
By the time we leave the fleet, we are well equipped for the pilgrimage. This is a rite of passage for all Quarians. If it were dangerous, our numbers would suffer. Virtually every pilgrimage ends with a triumphant return and the ritual presentation of the gift to one of the fleet's captains.
I want to
Okay.
talk about something else.
Like what?
Now let's talk about the Quarians in general.
Tell me about your people.
Our lives aren't easy. Resources are scarce, and we are constantly on the move. Everything we do must in some way contribute to the continuation of the migrant fleet. There are 17 million Quarians in the flotilla, and each of us relies on the others for survival. The bonds among my people are strong. Unfortunately, we have had to surrender many of the freedoms and civil liberties other species take for granted.
Like what?
What kind of freedoms?
Well, it's illegal for parents to have more than one child. If our population grows too much, it would strain our resources to their breaking point. Of course, we also can't allow our numbers to become too few. If our population is in decline, the rule against single births is temporarily repealed. In extreme cases of population decline, incentives are even offered to encourage multiple births, though the Conclave hasn't had to take such measures in nearly a century.
Wouldn't it make more sense to have a two-child policy then? I mean, with a one-child policy, your population is kind of bound to decline, isn't it? But, yeah, the Conclave,
That's your government.
The Conclave is our civilian branch of government. Each ship can elect a representative to serve on the Conclave and make decisions that affect the fleet as a whole. On matters that affect an individual ship, however, the captain has the final say. It's a tradition that dates back to the early days, when the fleet was governed by martial law. Fortunately, most captains nowadays are smart enough to have an elected council from their crew to give them advice and guidance.
so you're sort of democratic.
So the ultimate power rests with elected officials?
In practice, the Conclave and the respective council for each ship tend to set the rules that govern our daily lives. But in theory, we are still under military jurisdiction. The 5 top-ranking military officials in the fleet serve on the Admiralty Board. These 5 have the power to overrule any decision by the Conclave in case of emergency. To do so requires unanimous agreement among the Admiralty, and they can only do this once. After that, the entire board must resign their posts. It's a safeguard that served us well. In nearly 3 centuries, the Admiralty Board has only overruled the Conclave 4 times.
Okay, and yeah, tell me about the Geth.
I want to know more about the Geth.
I doubt I can tell you anything you don't already know. It's been almost 3 centuries since they drove my people into exile. All I know is the story of their origins, what they were when we created them, and how they turned on us.
Well, then tell me about it.
Interesting.
The Geth were originally created to serve as an automated manual labor force. Initially, their intelligence was as limited as any VI. Over time, we made small modifications to their programming to allow them to perform more varied and complex tasks, bringing them closer and closer to true AI status.
Well, apparently AI research is illegal.
How come the council didn't step in and stop you?
This wasn't true AI research. We may have been skirting the bounds of the law, but we never did anything that was actually illegal. The changes were so insignificant, so gradual, that we were able to control them. Or so we thought. But one thing we underestimated was the power of the neural network. A million Geth thinking simultaneously created an inherently unstable matrix.
The neural network?
So the Geth share brain power?
Many of the Geth's logic systems were designed to work in concert with other nearby Geth. Basically, the more of them you have in the group, the smarter they are.
So they are like a hive mind.
So there's some sort of group consciousness.
No, nothing like that. They cannot share sensory data or information. Their programming cannot handle that much simultaneous input. Each Geth maintains an individual awareness and identity. The neural network only operates on a process-based level. It's basically the synthetic equivalent of a subconscious. But when they're in close proximity, they can coordinate low-level functional processes, freeing up more capacity for original or independent thought.
I don't get it.
That doesn't make any sense.
I'm probably oversimplifying. The Geth are incredibly advanced and complex creations. All you need to know is that they get smarter when they gather in large numbers.
Okay.
As we built more and more Geth, their effective intelligence became more sophisticated, more abstract. One day, a Geth began to ask its Quarian overseer questions about the nature of its existence. Am I alive? Why am I here? What is my purpose? As you can imagine, this caused a near panic among my people.
Why?
I don't see what's so bad about those questions.
The Geth were created to engage in mundane, repetitive, or dangerous manual labor. That's fine for machines, but it won't satisfy a sentient being for long. The Geth were showing signs of rudimentary self-awareness and independent thought. If the Geth were intelligent, then we were essentially using them as slaves. It was inevitable the newly sentient Geth would rebel against their situation. We knew they would rise up against us, so we acted first. A general order went out across all Quarian-controlled systems to permanently deactivate all Geth. The Geth responded to this order violently.
Well, I suppose they wanted to defend themselves?
Hey, you can't blame them for fighting for their survival.
We had no other choice. The Geth were already on the verge of revolution. By acting quickly, we had a chance to end the war before it began. The hope was that most of the Geth would still be little more than machines, incapable of organized resistance. But they had progressed much further than anyone anticipated. The war was long and bloody. Millions upon millions of Quarians died at their hands. In the end, we were forced to flee our own homeworld. We feared the Geth would pursue us, but they never came beyond the Veil. Now we drift through space, exile searching for a way to reclaim what was once ours.
Well, I wonder why they have never actually settled on any other world, though. I mean, apparently humanity has been settling several worlds already in just a few decades, so I suppose the Quarians could have done the same. Yeah, I guess the Geth may have wanted to defend themselves.
It's hard to feel sorry for you. Your ancestors tried to wipe out another species.
We made a mistake when we created the Geth in the first place, but we did not make a mistake when we went to war against them. If we had not acted, they would have wiped us out. They're a synthetic life form. They have no use for organics. None. Why do you think they cut themselves off from the rest of the galaxy? Why do you think they've killed every organic being who's ever tried to contact them?
Well, apparently they didn't try to kill Saren, interestingly enough.
They didn't kill Saren.
What does that tell you? The Geth are not innocent victims in all this. They're the enemy. They want to destroy us. Not just the Quarians. All organic life. That's why they've joined up with Saren. And that's why we have to stop him.
Well, I guess I see your point. The Geth that we encountered so far definitely have all been hostile. So okay, goodbye.
I should go.
See you later.
Alright, yes, this was again a lot of information we got from all our companions, and I'm pretty sure I got a bunch of new codex entries by that, so I will probably read up on all the stuff that we have gathered here, and I think I would actually like to go back to the Citadel in the next episode, finish some of the side quests there, and I think we actually can get some new quests after, you know, advancing the story a little bit. So yeah, let's make a cut here now that we have caught up with all of our companions, and see you again next time.